How's it going, guys? This is Jack here with the Commanders Wire, and welcome back to another video. There's been a lot of drama today regarding the Bills franchise, along with their recently fired head coach Sean McDermott, as well as some drama with their general manager, as well as wide receiver Keon Coleman. So we're going to get into that today. On top of that, there have been some more interviews going on, not with the Washington Commanders, but also with the Bills, that could allow the Washington Commanders to get 2 free third-round picks that are compensatory for the 2026 and the 2027 draft if this coach is taken out of Washington. So before we get started, go down below, drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to know when I post next to let me know that you guys want more content just like this. I really do appreciate. Without further ado, let's get right into the first topic. As most people already know, Sean McDermott was fired from the head coach position for the Buffalo Bills after their very dramatic loss to the Broncos this past weekend. Sean McDermott is a defensive-minded coach who, unfortunately, as a Commanders fan, we don't really like this, but was the understudy of one Ron Rivera when he was with the Carolina Panthers. So obviously we don't like that connection. However, I think Sean McDermott has done more than enough to be a very, very refined defensive-minded coach in the NFL. So there could be a possibility the Commanders want to reach out and bring him in for an interview to fill their vacant defensive coordinator position. However, Sean McDermott most likely will be in the head coaching buzz for the numerous teams that are still looking for a head coach. I don't think it's very likely that the Commanders do bring him in for the defensive coordinator position after Sean McDermott's many seasons that he's made the playoffs over the last couple of years with the Buffalo Bills. Regardless of how far they went, making the playoffs is more than enough to be a good coach. So I think more than likely Sean McDermott will be a head coach in the near future for a new team for 2026. Next, it was recently reported that Anthony Lynn, the run game coordinator as well as the running backs coach, I believe, for the Washington Commanders, has been requested to interview for the head coaching position for the Buffalo Bills. According to Adam Schefter, he put some context at the very front of this post stating that former Bills assistant head coach and current Commanders run game coordinator Anthony Lynn, a finalist for the Buffalo head coaching job in 2017 that went to Sean McDermott, is scheduled to interview for the Bills head coach job Saturday, per a league source. Back in 2017, Lynn landed with the Chargers head coaching job instead and posted a 33-31 record in the midst of the team's relocation to Los Angeles. Since then, Lynn has studied under coaches such as Dan Campbell, Kyle Shanahan, and of course, our Dan Quinn. Anthony Lynn, I think, is one of our better coaches on our staff. He does a lot for this organization, and he brings a lot of knowledge and experience to the Washington Commanders. First off, for the run game, as he is the running backs coach and the run game coordinator, but as well as the entire offense. I think that if we didn't bring in David Blau to be this team's new offensive coordinator, and we couldn't get somebody outside of the organization, Anthony Lynn would have been the next guy up. He would have easily filled this offensive coordinator vacancy, and most likely would have been a front runner for other teams as well. So what does this mean for the Washington Commanders? Obviously, right now he's still with the Washington Commanders, but if hired, according to David Harrison of the Locked On Commanders YouTube channel, as well as writer for the Commanders on SI.com, you should go check him out. He says that the Washington Commanders would obtain 2 third-round picks compensated by the Buffalo Bills if they do hire Anthony Lynn to be their head coach for the next 2026 season. One of those picks would be in 2026, and the other would be in 2027. I think that's pretty solid. Obviously, Anthony Lynn does a lot for our organization, but 2 third-round picks is pretty good for this type of move, especially since it's Anthony Lynn being the one to make the decision in the end whether he wants to be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. I know the Commanders don't have a lot of picks in the early round. Getting an extra third-round pick this year and next year would definitely help out this rebuild that we're currently on. That would give us a total of 7 picks this year, 1 being on day 1, 2 on day 2, and the 4 other ones being on day 3, and I think that would really help out this offseason with Dan Quinn and Adam Pearce, as they really won't have to do much in order to get an extra player on this roster. However, that does leave a vacancy as our running backs coach and run game coordinator. We would have to either hire someone lower down the coaching tree or someone that is not in the organization, and I really don't know who that would be. I guess we'd have to see once we cross that bridge. If Anthony Lynn does decide to go to the Buffalo Bills, we can dive deeper to see who could possibly fill that role as the run game coordinator and running backs coach, or two different coaches to fill each of those roles. We'll just have to see what happens when we get there. So comment down below. Would you guys want to see Anthony Lynn leave his organization in order to get these 2 third-round picks? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think the 2 third-round picks matter more than Anthony Lynn, or do you think retaining an offensive mind like Anthony Lynn matters most over the 2 third-round picks coming from the Bills? Let me know down in the comments. Next up, Keon Coleman. Obviously the cookie monster. We all see the memes of Keon Coleman, how he likes cookies. Wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. During a press conference today, the Buffalo Bills general manager and owner came out and reflected on the firing of Sean McDermott as well as their overall season, and it came out that their general manager wasn't really a fan of Keon Coleman when they drafted him, and he really decided to be a team player. That drafting Keon Coleman, as much of the coaching staff liked Keon Coleman coming out of college and really wanted to bring him into the Buffalo Bills organization. Now that Sean McDermott is fired, and most likely the rest of the coaching staff will be fired once a new regime takes over to coach the Buffalo Bills, Keon Coleman's position with the Buffalo Bills remains questionable. It could be possible that the general manager doesn't want Keon Coleman on the team and may try and flip him for a day 3 pick. I've seen people on X say they want to give a 5th round pick. Keon Coleman, I think, has the talent to be I wouldn't say number 1 receiver in the league, but maybe a solid 2 or maybe even a wide receiver 3 in the NFL. He has some character issues off the field that he has struggled with this past season. Ultimately got him benched numerous games this season and took away from the Bills' chances to either get a higher seed or even have a better path in the playoffs, and they could be even competing for a Super Bowl. Who knows? Regardless of the status of Keon Coleman, it could be worth it. Could we see the Washington Commanders trading a 5th, 6th, or even 7th pick? I know we do have 2 6th-round picks that we could get rid of, and maybe we want to trade another guy like Daron Payne. The Commanders do need help at the receiver position. I know they do need some more height at the receiver position, and Keon Coleman brings that. Obviously, there are some character issues he brings that may not mesh well with the locker room, but you're only giving away maybe a 6th-round pick, 7th-round pick, really late pick for the type of talent that he is, so it could be worth it. And coming into a locker room with Jane Daniels, I can see a world where Bobby Wagner goes to a team not as a player but maybe as an assistant coach and could be a really good guy in the locker room, coaching as well as leading a team. And coming into the locker room like the Commanders have, Keon Coleman could potentially be fixed and his character issues could be resolved. So we'll just have to see. And speaking of character issues, it was recently reported that the 49ers general manager has publicly said that Brandon Aiyuk has played his last snap as a 49er. So what does this mean? It means that most likely after the end of the 2025 season, once the Super Bowl concludes, the 49ers are probably going to cut Brandon Aiyuk. That means he's going to be a free agent. He'll be able to sign with any team he likes. Now, should the Commanders bring him in, we'll just have to see. If he's asking for $20 million, $25 million, even $30 million, he may have the talent to be paid that much, but the character issues just outweigh that talent so much that I couldn't see a possibility of him getting paid that much money to come to the Washington Commanders. Maybe he wants to take a prove-it deal, $10, $15 million. I can see that happening. The talent that he is, playing with Jane Daniels on top of that, I think the Commanders could bring him in on that type of deal. But 2-3 year deal worth $20 million or more, I think no way. Even though we have the money for it, there's no possible chance I'd want Adam Peters and Dan Quinn to bring in Brandon Aiyuk to be this team's number 2 receiver. For that type of money, he can go somewhere else and potentially ruin their organization. I will gladly pass. So let me know down in the comments. Would you guys want to see Anthony Lynn? Would you guys want to see more draft picks for the Washington Commanders for the 2026-2027 season? And would you guys want to see Keon Coleman or Brandon Aiyuk come to the Washington Commanders for either cheap deals or trading for a day 3 pick? Just let me know down in the comments. This is the end of the video. I appreciate you guys so much for watching till the end. Please go down below, drop a like, subscribe, as well as comment the things I said earlier. It really helps me out. God bless, and hail to the Commanders.